And there's one other interesting thing that's happening with biochar. I mentioned that Pete Ritchie at Whitmore Organics is using it in pig feed. There are trials now going on with animal feed. Now we all know antibiotics are failing. They're failing us. And they're failing us because 80% of antibiotic use is being wasted on keeping animals up to their armpits in poo alive in conditions where, you know, they would otherwise die of E. coli or whatever. And of course, we've evolved more virulent forms of E. coli by the constant use of antibiotics, bashing away at them. And when you go to a hospital and you need antibiotics, they may not work because somebody over-abused them in order to keep a price of a hamburger at 95 cents. That's a little cartoon of, you know, mad cows in the sense of angry. Now there's been research at Cornell University in New York and the Ithaca Institute in Switzerland that is, and also on the pigs at Whitmore in Scotland that are being done in conjunction with the University of Edinburgh, and they are potentially showing that putting biochar into animal feed improves their digestive efficiency, reduces their methane emissions, because cattle are also a contributor to global warming both from both ends. They burp and fart. And so and they're growing more efficiently. And of course, biochar is good for people too. If you travel in India or Asia or Africa, you should always take charcoal tablets because they can prevent a lot of terrible problems. Society's changing. You know, America is seeing fragmentation of some of the big farms as more and more people realize they can run their they can run their enterprise outside of a city and still, you know, maybe go into city once a week, and they'd rather live on a farm closer to nature. And a magazine came out in the States last year called Modern Farmer. They coined the term, which is kind of uncomfortable, rurbanistas, rural urban people. But Modern Farmer is really, you know, who'd have thought a magazine 20 years ago, who'd have thought a magazine would come out aimed at modern farmers who are farmers on something between 20 and 120 acres. So that's part of this sort of local ruralization trend. I always like to throw in the New Economic Foundation figure. If you spend £10 at a supermarket, the actual benefit to your local economy is £12 because people get paid and they spend the money and so on and so forth. If you spend it at a local shop, it doubles that and a bit. If you spend money at a local shop on locally produced food, then it's £60 local benefit. So just imagine if everybody, what would happen to gross domestic product? Forget about gross national happiness, that would go up too. And you know, people wouldn't be doing all this traveling, but you know, that change is happening too. And it's actually going to make us economically richer, even though it isn't actually going to be measured, because gross product is measured by what Sainsbury's and Tesco and Unilever and you know, Kellogg's sell, not by this kind of undertaxed, from a government point of view, peer-to-peer type of economy that's emerging. We work a lot with woofers. In fact, WOOF was founded by Sue Coppard, who was the editor of Seed, the Journal of Organic Living, which is a magazine we published from 1971 to 1977. And she went to one of our advertisers and said, look, I've never actually been on an organic farm and I've editing this magazine. Can I just come and visit? And they said, yeah, come down for the weekend. Anyway, she had such a great time that she set up WOOF, and I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but it's just a wonderful way for people to go out and learn. So there are a lot of woofers out there who have been immersed in the biochar culture that we operate on our little farm. So to summarize, by changing the way we produce food, by putting carbon at the heart of it, and we'll have to, if when the Paris talks are successful, we'll end up getting better food from less land with lower input costs, less water use, healthier soil, plants, and people, and we'll be doing something very positive to reverse climate change. So, Thank you all.